Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Engaging Youth and Building the Future of Lions webinar. My name is Jee-Ho Kang, and I will be guiding you through this deck. This session here is really to show you the differences between a Leo Club, a Campus Lions Club, and a Young Professionals Lions Club. We hope that through this session, you'll be able to really understand the differences between the three and understand the nuances of how to really engage youth and really build a new generation of Lions. So a little bit about myself. My name is Jee-Ho Kang, as I said before. I am currently based out of New York, New York. I lived in Texas for most of my life and had most of my Lions experience in Texas. Currently, I'm working for a group called Palladium Consulting. We mostly do international development and private sector consulting as well. I most recently served as president of the Dallas Young Professionals Lions Club in Dallas, Texas. And I graduated from University of Texas at Austin in 2015. I've been with the Lions Club family for around 10 years now and started in 2009. And I served as the charter president of the AMCHS Consolidated High School Leo Club, the Lions Club at the University of Texas at Austin, and also the Dallas Young Professionals Lions Club. And you can see these are a couple different photos of my time that I've spent in. The agenda that we're trying to cover today is to really show you the background of the different types of clubs that we made and the lessons that we got from those and the key takeaways. So we're going to go through each club and we're going to go through each of the lessons that we made, and hopefully we can go into conclusions. So the Anna Consolidated High School Leo Club was created in 2009, my junior year of high school, and we really created this club because we wanted to have a club that was solely focused on service. We didn't want it to be a popularity or a social club where there are already so much of that. We really wanted to get back to the basics on volunteering. So we chartered in 2009, and we had around 1 to 2 service events a month, which I think is pretty often for a high school club. The social events were very sparse. We really didn't have time to do a lot of socials. Our general meetings we did every other week, and our demographics, we saw a max membership period of around 4 years with an average length of about 2 to 3 years per member. The leadership period, which is important for like mentoring and creating the next generation of leaders, was around 1 or 2 years. The club size varied between 20 to 40 members, but the emphasis here was on volunteering with the community events and the different types of school needs that the schools had. One thing to note from this club is the A&M Consolidated High School Leo Club was one of many different service-oriented clubs in the school, but College Station also created a new high school after I left called College Station High School, and our advisor from the AMCHS Leo Club moved to the new high school and created the Leo Club there. And the Leo Club there is actually a lot bigger than the current club size that we mentioned for AMCHS, and I think they're the only volunteering organization in campus at College Station High School. Club success largely depends on the officers and the teacher advisors. So this really depends on a very hands-on approach to leadership. The objectives of the members who come join the club really varies. There are a lot of people who are just focused on service-minded, on the service aspect of it, but there are also a lot of people that are focused on the college resume section as well. At first, I saw this as a negative, having people who are just focused on the college resume building, and we wanted to weed that out. And we first created Leo Club very very exclusive, which was not a route we should have taken. But there was a particular member who wasn't in any service background, and I had no knowledge of any service for him. And he came up to me, asked for a membership form, so kind of reluctantly gave him one. But he ended up becoming the highest serving member that we had, the most active member, and it really changed the way that we thought about volunteering. It's not our place to really judge someone on why they want to join the club, what their motives are. But if they're coming to the club and they're serving, and if they're coming to the club and they're really interacting with different Lions, we're confident that they'll see how important this is and how meaningful this is, that this will carry on through the rest of their lives. We've seen that people who just join for the resume aspect, they eventually can't really keep up with the rigor of being a lion or being a Leo, and they drop naturally on their own. Socials are not a priority for high school student organizations in general because there's a lot of studying and there's a lot of other extracurricular activities where socials that we traditionally see are not as prevalent in high school clubs, and it's more of a focus later on in the more college and young professionals clubs. The teacher advisors, they serve as the main kind of source of consistency from year to year. So having the right type of advisor is really important for a Leo club. You need an advisor who can actually like work with students, have students bring their own initiatives, but also know when to step in. But also a teacher advisor who is very engaging with students and really like connects with students from a personal level. It's not easy being a teacher advisor for a club. And we've seen that the most effective ones are generally tend to be like younger teachers who students can relate to a bit better. And since the leadership and since the club changes so quickly, having a strong advisor is absolutely vital for the club. The officers also mostly micromanage the club administration, and this is just a natural thing for a high school club because when you're in high school, a lot of students who want to do so many different things join different clubs and they're in leadership positions in those clubs, and generally they don't really know how to lead yet. They don't know the difference between a leader and a manager. So a lot of the officers are really trying to micromanage the operational stuff that we will later discuss is kind of the opposite for a successful campus club. But unfortunately, whenever you micromanage some of the operations of a club, it's really hard for that knowledge transfer, and it's really hard to get training for the next generation of leaders. So this is a point that where teacher advisors also are important for to show what officers need to do whenever they step into that role. But it's also an area of opportunity. Although it is difficult to do a smooth transition, it's not impossible. There just needs to be the right foundation set for training for the year after. Leos have a hard time seeing impact and reach of Lions Club International. So Lions, when we're part of this community, we understand that it's a community that's bigger than us. You can go to a club in Berlin, you can go to a club in India, you can go to a club in Korea or Taiwan or Mexico or anywhere in South America, anywhere in the world, literally there is a Lions Club. But Leos kind of have a hard time seeing that and how their work in the community translates to Lions Club International. So this is also an area of opportunity. If Leos understand the breadth and the scope of where Lions are, then it can really be a powerful tool to keep these Leos engaged and move on towards Lions clubs. Recruitment structure is mostly word of mouth and school announcements. Some schools don't even allow announcements or posters, so that could be more difficult as well. And we've seen some success with students asking if they can talk about their club for a little bit in the classes that they're in. Most Leos also don't continue with Lions Club after graduating Leo Club in high school even if they are given the opportunity. I think this has a couple of different factors to it. I think Leos kind of get burnt out after being in such a club in high school that whenever they go to college, they want to try something new. I also think that Leos, generally the schools that they go to, there isn't a campus club that's offered to them. Whenever they go to a campus club, it can be a very different atmosphere from what they're used to. And this is just like college transition in general. Also, a lot of Leos, whenever they do join an adult Lions club, they just don't feel like they're part of that, and a lot of them tend to feel out of place. And a lot of these Leos will not go out and form Lions clubs in their campuses as we hope. Um, but it is it is a catalyst in the sense that having these Leos in other campuses can be an opportunity for a lot of new campus Lions growth. So the Lions Club at the University of Texas at Austin, this is a club that's a bit more mature now. We chartered in 2012, and our objective was to really unite college students for service and also build meaningful relationships while introducing this idea of Lionism. When we first got started with Lions Club at the University of Texas at Austin, literally no one knew what the club was. We had to explain it multiple times. My officers and our officers and I would go to extreme lengths to really flyer and spread the word out. We would sleep overnight to secure spots for tabling. We would skip classes to really flyer and table. We would walk people with umbrellas during a rainy day to talk about lions. But until we really started that aggressive guerrilla marketing campaign, people thought we were either the Lion Dancing Club, which was more prevalent back then, or they didn't know it about us at all. Um, but our club kind of grew a lot. We had a first introductory meeting with around like I would want to say around like 80 to 100 people for both for each of the two interest meetings when we first started, and now our club has anywhere to 100 to 200 active members. It depends on the year, it depends on when classes are, but we've literally had thousands of students who walk through those doors to learn about lions, and that's kind of the idea behind a campus club, is to really spread this idea of Lionism to people who've never heard about it before. Service events, we generally had 2 to 3 events a week. This number is an old number. I hear that it's grown a lot more now. There are service events throughout the week, and there are service events during the weekends. Some of the events are smaller, so we have to do multiple. So this can span anywhere from 2 to 3 events to like 5 or 6 events a week. Social events, we have around like 2 events a week. General meeting is every week, and this is something that we changed. Our general meetings used to be every other week, but we had a lot of feedback saying that this is actually making it harder for people to engage. They wanted a community that people can keep coming to regularly, and that's why we changed it to every week, which was more successful. The max membership period is around 5 years. This means being a freshman to running a victory lap to stay an extra year as a senior. But the average membership period, I would say, is around 2 to 3 years. This is because some people don't hear about Lions until they're a sophomore. They don't come to Lions until they're a sophomore. And if you're a freshman and you join, some people stay all throughout. Some people spend a year doing something else and sometimes come back. Other times when you're hitting your final year of college, you don't necessarily want to volunteer, or you don't want to go do the things that you did when you were a freshman anymore. So that is an area of opportunity where if it's a family, if it's a real like community that people love to be part of, even if you're a senior, then they'll come back. So that's a really important part of a campus club. Our average leadership period is around 1 to 2 years. This is what we're saying we have a very flattened leadership approach at the Lions Club at the University of Texas at Austin, where we would have chairs that report to officers, and each of the officers have a committee that they're in charge of, and the exec just consists of all the officers. So it's a very flattened approach. But it's also a very mentorship heavy approach where the chairs are chosen in the fall, and during the fall the officers will kind of tell them what to do, what to help them get their feet wet, and in the spring is when these chairs really flourish and kind of do events on their own and learn how to really run events on their own so that they are ready to become officers if they choose to. A lot of these officers though won't really stay a leader after they serve their term because it's such a rigorous position to be part of as a student. Our officers spend it's like a part-time or even a full-time job being an officer as part of the club. You have like 2 hour exec meetings sometimes, and you have your committee meetings you have to lead, and then you have to create more events, and you have to go to the regular meetings. So this is a full-time activity that even the most passionate people may burn out if it's not managed correctly. Um, the club emphasis is really on volunteering with the community partners. So it's not like there are a lot of original activities lately, but traditionally the focus was on partnering up with other community organizations to do events with them, such as like um, animal shelters or homeless shelters or orphanages or a micro farm or cleaning graffiti for the city. Like that used to be the norm, but lately we've been having a lot more original projects as the club is maturing. So some of the lessons that we have from the club, we learned that club success largely depends on the interpersonal relationship and the flattened administrative leadership. So this is something that we discussed earlier. We wanted to create a family, a community where people keep coming back to. Members come for the service and stay for the family. This is almost it's almost like our informal slogan now. And most of the members are first timers to Lions Club, but they come in. We have a mandate where if you are a leader, if you're a chair of the club, then you have to really sit as part of the crowd and talk to these people who are new, who might be sitting alone. As officers, we would encourage our chairs to go like we would pinpoint out people to talk to, and they would go talk to them and really encourage them to like learn more about their personal background so that they have a tie to the club. And time again, this is feedback we've heard from members who choose to stay and even become leaders, that what really helped them stay was the fact that these people knew of each other and they knew of them, they knew their names, they when they came back they understood like the type of social norms that were going on and really built a relationship out of it. We would have Lions lunches which people can sign up for, where you get paired up with random people in the club, so you can really grow that relationship as well. So we've had a lot of best friends that come out. We've also had a lot of couples that came out of these programs. We also had our first Lions Club marriage from the interpersonal relationships that were built from the club. Our club really focused on the consistent open feedback and transparency. We always told our members, hey, if you have anything to say, you can always come to the exec meeting and voice your opinions. We've always told them you can speak up at any time. We would also hand meeting feedback forms so that so our members can really fill out how things went and understand how they can make an impact in the club that they spend so much time in. We also have a committee-based club administration and leadership. This is with that flattened leadership that we were speaking of. So we chose chairs in the fall, and we have a lot of chair positions out there. Sometimes it's 20 chair positions out there. Sometimes it's 50. We've had feedback before saying, why do you have so many chairs? Why do you have so many leadership positions? But you think about it like the house from the movie Up. It's a house, if for those of you who haven't seen the movie, that's being essentially lifted in the air because there's so many helium-filled balloons. And that's kind of how we see the club. Each member, each leader is a balloon, and we need every one of those leaders to really help lead the club, but it's going one direction. It's all going up. So it's also a way for leaders to really express what they're very passionate about, and then also support each other and go follow whatever other leaders are doing. So if you are a service chair and you lead a service event, then there's going to be other chairs that are there following what you need to do and following what you're asking your members to do. Vice versa, if you're a service chair attending a social, same thing. We also tell our members, or one of our main draws is that, hey, if you're passionate about something, you can create a special committee and we'll help you create the structure for that special committee, but you ultimately lead that committee. So if you want to If you want to build a special committee for shoes to orphan children in Korea, then if you're very passionate about it, then we can help you build that so you can actually run that program. Through that, we've had a lot of cool stuff throughout the years. We've had an orchestra, we had a yearbook special committee, we had a theater, we had STEM where we're teaching like science, technology. And then we've had a Leo Club special committee that creates new Leo clubs. We've had an international relations special committee. So the possibilities are endless, and this is one of the main like draws that we really like to highlight for our club. The administration challenges with Lions Club International system is a bit more difficult to manage because um, the campus club is so different, unlike what Lions Club does internationally throughout the world, that we have to be very in the times and flexible with how the members want our clubs to be built. So we've also seen campus clubs out there that are more traditional, where you have people stand up in the front and you have like the tables up in the front and you have like dinners and things like that. But we found out that it didn't resonate with our members. What our members wanted was a flat community where people can be a family, but also they don't really care much for the leadership structure. They want more the fact that it's a family and everybody are friends with each other. So no one is dressed up. Everyone is just as casual as they can be, and we run our PowerPoints very quickly so that our members have all the information that they need, and then really we operationalize on that throughout the week. The recruitment is mostly based on tabling, flyering, and word of mouth. Tabling means that you're actually like we set up a table during different events or different areas, strategic areas in the campus, and then kind of have it available, and then have it available so that people can walk by and learn more about lions. And flyering, which is sending out thousands of different flyers, standing in another strategic pinpoint location, and then handing out thousands of flyers. This can be a very rough job, but it's something that really gets people to hear about what Lions is and what Lions does. And then word of mouth, this is probably the most effective in terms of people who stay, but it's really you bring your friend, and your friend brings a friend, and another friend brings a friend. So unfortunately, you can't have one or the other. You need to have all three of these to really have an effective recruitment. And since the turnover for campus clubs are also so high, you need all of these every year. And if you don't have this every year, then that year was most likely going to be a bit more strenuous when it comes to getting people out to events and having people learn about Lions. New ideas through constant experimentation and special committees. We touched a little bit about special committees, but we also like experimentation is another thing that the club is very proud of. Like we have this entrepreneurial spirit where we need constantly make mistakes, constantly try something new, and the club is constantly changing. And if it's not, frankly, it's not going to be able to compete against the thousands of other clubs that the University of Texas offers. The last note, most campus Lions do not continue in Lions after graduation. This is an unfortunate fact, and there isn't the support structure where campus lions can graduate and go into. Frankly, they don't want to be part of a club that has like 60, 70-year-old lions who they just can't relate to. But they do remember their experiences with Lions Club International and with their experiences in Lions Club. And it becomes a very meaningful thing for them that they can talk about, because that's essentially their college career. They had studying, but they also had Lions, and that was their social, and that was what they did for fun, and that was what they did for community. So eventually we have all these seeds out there where once they have a family, once they settle down, that if they want to go join Lions, they know that they're going to be joining a part of something that they were a part of, and it's part of something that meant a lot to them. So the Dallas Young Professionals Lions Club. This is more of a newer concept. This is still something that's more of a work in progress. Like, I would say limited success, but we wanted to create a club that were a way for people to um, join a community straight out of college, and they can really be part of a new city and a new community. So we had about 1 to 2 events a month rather than a week. We had about 1 to 2 socials a week as well. We tried to make it more social than service at first because we wanted to, again, create that community. And unfortunately, young professionals don't necessarily want to go volunteer every weekend. Our general meetings were every week, and our target audience is more of a long-term target with the average leadership period of 3 to 4 years. Current club size around 10, 15, 20 members, depending on when you ask us, but the club emphasis on volunteering with District Lions Club rather than different partners, consistent socials, and interpersonal relationships. Um, the Young Professionals Club has still been an experiment. It's still we're still trying to really build a stronger community. We learned a lot of lessons from here, where hopefully we can impart on other clubs throughout the U.S. or wherever we believe that there is a market for a Young Professionals Lions Club. And it really comes into the club success really comes to the interpersonal relationships. It's similar to campus clubs in a sense that there's still like millennials, and they still really come for that community. And service is a welcome addition to Young Professional Lions Club, but it's not necessarily a priority because a lot of energy and time constraints. But what we've been hearing more lately is that we do want more service events. So things change. It really depends on who's in your club. And the roles that the club administration have in leadership we're trying to make it as specific as possible, but make it as lean as possible so we can do the basic operational stuff. It's a mix between Leo Club, Lions Club, Campus Lions Club in the sense that it has to be a little bit more operational, slightly more micromanaging, because there's just not enough people to really do the whole chairs and officers based approach that we did in campus clubs. Um, this is very uncharted waters, not just for us, but for Lions Club International as a whole, and potentially opens up a new membership demographic for future clubs. Recruitment that we had was mostly based on social media and word of mouth. This is actually the most difficult part because we can't just flyer anywhere. We can't just set up a table anymore. Like, we really need to be very strategic in how we do our recruiting. But unfortunately, this means this has a high cost to it. And I think this is the biggest points of areas of opportunity where we need support from older Lions clubs and from Lions Club International, because we need to set out Facebook marketing advertisements. And unfortunately, this advertisements cost a lot of money. It's advertising for like basically any other company out there. Um, and if we don't do that advertisement, unless we really already have a large following, that long tail, we really won't be able to build the club. Another thing that we did was we would go to other community events and we talk about what we're involved in, and then that would bring some interest as well. That does bring, like, that word of mouth does bring stronger relationships, but we just don't have the mass that we used to as in campus clubs. We also do a lot of different types of social events and exploring the city, because that's something that our young professional lions really kind of ask for, is to have a group of friends that they can run into. Before we go into the key takeaways, I also want to mention that we, from the Lions Club at the University of Texas at Austin, and I are creating a Lions Club alumni base from UT. We're hoping that this can kind of be a way of piloting almost softer pilots of a young professional club. First, it will be focused on just UT Lions and who graduated from the University of Texas. And then eventually we can see it as building out new young professional clubs throughout the cities that we're involved in. So key takeaways, Leo clubs, campus clubs, and young professional clubs all have very different experiences and different requirements, with Leo club being more on the school and community volunteering, some with the resume building, and the characteristics of having an officer and teacher advisor-led club that are very micromanaged and not a lot of socials. Campus Lions clubs are more the community partner volunteering, service focused and committee led, And there's a lot of training and mentorship that makes it less micromanaging. And then the basis that keeps everyone together is more of that relationship with the club constantly changing with experimentation and opportunities. Young professional Lions clubs, a lot of the volunteering has been like sourced from district Lions clubs, with the focus more on the community and social, with more of an operational role-based leadership, with consistent social events and a lot of time and energy and money constraints. So these are some of the challenges in encouraging the continuation of youth Lions for the next chapter of Lions Club. It's really hard to really have Lions continue to the next step, but that I think is a huge area of opportunity that we can help build as part of Lions Club International, to really help plant these seeds and build a new generation of Lions clubs throughout the U.S. And there are a lot of gaps when it comes to Lions Club International programs, because since a lot of it is focused on adult lions and a lot of the structure is based on that, and there's not a lot of like financial support, frankly, as well, to really build these youth-oriented Lions clubs. But I believe that is going to be critical for the future of Lions as Lions starts aging a little bit and starts losing some of this core membership base that we're so used to. So in conclusion, in order to really effectively engage youth and build the future of Lions, we need to understand what makes target demographics tick, because high school students, college students, and young professionals all have very unique requirements that require very different approaches to the traditional Lions Club formula. And from service to community focus, Lions need to understand the youth perspective to really grow a new generation of Lions in order for a sustainable Lions Club approach. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at any time. I know that there are a lot of changing stuff that's out there. There's a lot of confusion probably on how to really start some of these programs. And I'd love to have open discussions. I don't have the answers to everything, but would love to have some of these productive discussions and hopefully more webinars. You can always reach out to me at jeehokang@gmail.com. You can also call me at 979-422-4490, or email the DYP Lions Club at dyplionsclub@gmail.com, or follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/DYP Lions Club. You can also reach out to me for information for the Lions Club at the University of Texas at Austin Campus Club, or the Leo in Consolidated High School, or the College Station High School Leo Club. Thank you everyone so much for listening to this session, and we really hope that this was very helpful to you. We always, again, love to continue this discussion, so feel free to reach out, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.